Okay, hello friends. So these are harder practice problems to accompany my review of basic exponent rules. So just FYI, this video is going to go a little nuts with the exponent problems. I do have another set of practice problems, another video with more basic exponent problems, but in this video, you can pause if you want to read any of these over, but I'm going through things that are a little crazier in nature. So this video specifically continues extra practice exercises that accompany a review video on this topic. So if you want to see a review of how to do these types of problems, check the description for a link to the review video where I break down how to approach all of these things. If you want, you can get a free PDF version of all those problems that I just showed you, plus an answer key at divideandconquermath.com. Just go to the review section. Okay, so the way these videos work, I am just going to plow right through these. So it's up to you if you want to pause the video and try these first. But I am just going to get started on these. By the way, you'll learn math better if you actually try these without just watching me do them. I know how to do these very well. You'll learn it best. Even if you make a mistake, that's okay. Math is not a spectator sport. That's just all I wanted to say. Okay, so starting with A here. So when you have a set of parentheses and you have negative exponents, so before I deal with the outside one, it kind of just depends on the problem. Like if you watch me explain a bunch of these, I probably do something a little different each time. And that's kind of the thing with exponent problems, is it's kind of whatever your brain is speaking to you. But for this one, I am going to start by taking this to the top and this to the bottom, because it's not that much work to do that. So I'm going to have 5y to the third, and then bring that z to the third up, and then send that x to the fourth to the bottom. So that does not take that much work for me to do. And now I've gotten rid of all of the negative exponents. So that's why I made that decision. So each exponent problem is just a little different. You may have gone at this in a slightly different way, but as long as you get to the same answer at the end, it's all good. So now you want to make sure that you square that 5. All these other exponents get multiplied by that 2 on the outside. So this becomes 25 y to the 6, z to the 6 over x to the 8th. So in general, if you miss something with this, I find that it's usually because you probably just inverted a negative exponent or something. Okay, so for this one, so this is kind of interesting because we have a set of parentheses on top, no parentheses in the bottom. So we can't go any farther until first we deal with the parentheses on top. So that's, I mean, because it's kind of like PEMDAS, right? So you have to deal with the parentheses and the exponents first. So I have to deal with this before I can deal with the rest of this, just using the order of operations. Sometimes with some of these exponent problems, we can be a little less strict with the order of operations, but in this case, I have to deal with this first before I can deal with the whole thing. So I'm going to have this 4 squared, x to the 6, y to the 4th. So that's me multiplying those exponents by 2. And then, let's just keep going with this. So 4 squared is 16. And now I can just kind of assess what is left over here. So now I'm going to divide the top and bottom here by 2. So I'm going to divide these numbers both by 2. So I have 8x to the 6, y to the 4th, and 3x to the 4th, y to the 10th. And now I want to apply the quotient rule here, but I want to pay attention to where my exponents are higher. So with the x's are higher on top. So I'm going to set up my subtraction so that this is 6 minus 4. And then for the y's, there are more y's in the bottom than on the top, so I'll set up my subtraction like that. So it's all about where is it bigger, and then that's where you want to set up your subtraction. So this will be 8x squared over 3y to the 6. All right, so onwards to C here. So once again, we have to just deal with the parentheses first. Now, this is a little tricky because I have a negative number and a negative exponent. So I've talked about this in a few of the other examples from the previous video, but you just want to be careful that you're not mixing these two things up. So I kind of intentionally put those in there just to force you to keep them straight. So with the -3, the number, I'm going to maintain the parentheses around that and just put that exponent there so that I don't forget about it. And then for these other exponents, so I'm going to take 2 times 2, so that's 4, and I'll take negative 3 times 2, so that's negative 6. So I'm in the process of dealing with the parentheses. I find it's very helpful to go in multiple steps. Don't do too much too fast. If you just went ahead and did negative 3 squared and wrote negative 9, that would be incorrect, right? So this negative 3 has parentheses around that. Therefore, we need to respect that. And so I know that negative 3 squared, I've talked about this in my order of operations review video, so you can check that out if you want like a deeper explanation of that. But since this has parentheses around it, I have to respect that. This becomes negative 3 times negative 3, so this is actually positive 9. So this is 9, x to the 4th, y to the negative 6, and then times blah, 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 blah. Okay, so now we can add the exponents that are left over, because now I'm just multiplying everything. So 9 times 5 is 45. And then for x, so I have 4 plus negative 3, so that's just going to leave me with x. And then here I've got y to the negative 6, so this is negative 6 plus 9, so that's just going to leave me with y to the 3rd. And that's it. Okay, so for D, so this is very similar to B. Sorry, I think I accidentally dropped that exponent there. So, okay, first I have to deal with the parentheses. So in squaring everything, so let's see, this will be 5 squared x to the 6, y to the 14th. Leave all this stuff alone. So the top is 25 x to the 6, y to the 14th, and then you have all this stuff on the bottom. Okay, so now that I've taken care of the parentheses, I can assess the situation. So I can see here I need to divide the top and bottom by 5. So I don't like to do too much in one step, just because I know that these are small problems, and I know I can do a lot of this in my head, but I've noticed that when I do stuff in my head, I'm probably going to make a mistake. So I really just try to do like one set of things at a time. Okay, so now that I've done that, now I want to get rid of the negative exponents. So these two things have negative exponents, so I'm going to move them up to the top. So this is going to be 5 x to the 6. I'm going to move that x to the 3rd next to it, and then y to the 14th, move that y to the 6th next to it, all of that over 2. And so now I can add these things together. So this is 5 x to the 9th and y to the 20th, all of that over 2. Okay, so now we're going to continue on with the next 4 problems. So again, it's up to you. If you want to pause video and give these a try, feel free. I'm just going to plow right through them. And hey, if you're finding this video helpful, consider hitting that like button, or you can leave me a comment and, I don't know, tell me how things are going, or hit subscribe. That would be awesome. I'm always trying to build the channel. Okay, so let's keep going. So now I have this problem here. So again, I just personally, like if I have variables on top of variables, I like to simplify the inside first. I know I could just go ahead and cube everything, but like 6 cubed, that is, I don't know, it's going to require my fingers and toes to figure that out, versus 6 over 4, I could simplify that first before I cube it, so I think that's what I'm going to go for. All right, so first things first, I am going to just divide the top and bottom by 2. So this is 3x squared, y to the 5th, and then this 2 in the bottom. Okay, and then like I said, I don't like to do too much too fast. I like to kind of go one thing at a time. So I've simplified those things. So now let's simplify the x's and y's. Okay, so I notice there are more x's in the bottom. So I'm going to do the subtraction this way, versus there are more y's in the top. So I'm going to do the subtraction this way. And let's see, I'm actually going to make that a little shorter. Okay, so this is 3y cubed over 2x to the 4th. And now I have simplified the inside enough, and now I can go ahead and cube everything. And I think this is going to just keep the numbers a little easier to work with than if I were to just cube everything from the get-go, right? So, okay, 3 cubed. 3 cubed is 27. Remember, it's not 3 times 3, right? It's 3 to the 3rd. And then for the exponents, it is 3 times 3. So that kind of messes with people. Makes sense. So you kind of have to just keep repeating the rules to yourself. Same thing here. This is 2 to the third. 2 to the third is 2 times 2 times 2, that's 8. Versus here, I am multiplying the exponent. 4 times 3 is 12. Cool. 12. All right. Fun times. Let's keep going. All right, so F, I'm going to use that same principle. I want to simplify the inside because I got a lot of stuff going on here. First things first, I'm just going to divide the top and bottom by 5 because that is easy enough for me to start with. That's like the first thing that jumps out at me. So I'm just going to start by simplifying those things. And then, let's see, x to the 5th, y to the negative 2nd. Okay, so the next thing that I'm going to do is I want to move these negative exponent thingies where they belong. Not going to do anything else until I've gotten rid of the negative exponents because it's just a little too daunting otherwise to try to do all that math in your head. It's like, I know that it's like a lot of people are like, oh, but I could just do it in my head. I get it. But like you're probably going to make a mistake because it's just like too many negatives in a compact space. It's like a really easy error to make. So that's why I'm a fan of that. So now that I can see what I'm left with, I can just add these exponents. So this is going to be 2y to the 8th, 3x to the 8th, and now we can cube all of this goodness. So remember, 2 to the 3rd, which means 2 times 2 times 2. That is 8 versus now I need to multiply the exponents. 8 times 3 is 24. This is like one of the really common things that gets people is like when they need to be cubing something versus when they need to like multiply the exponents. I get it. So this is 3 to the 3rd. That's 3 times 3 times 3. So this is 27, and then this will be x to the 24th. So again, I multiply those exponents. Okay, so continuing on with this so fun thing that we're doing. All right, so in this case, so I know I have a negative on the outside, but I have a lot of negatives on the inside, and then I have like a variable on top of itself. So it doesn't really matter which way you want to go with this, but just like it really bugs me when I have negatives and like variables on top of each other inside the parentheses. So it's just my habit to, in this particular case, start by moving the negative exponents. So those two things I'm going to move down first. And I'm just going to ignore the exponent on the outside in this case. If you went a different route, that's okay. But I'm just like, it just bothers me. So I am going to just deal with it. Okay, so I've got this x to the 5th, and then I brought down this x to the 3rd, and then I have this y to the 3rd, and I brought down this y to the 7th. And then I still have this z to the 6th just hanging out over here. Okay, so I want to simplify everything going on the inside before I go any farther with this. So these two exponents can be added, these two exponents can be added, versus these z's here. So these can be subtracted. There are more z's on bottom than on top. So in the end, I will be left with, it's a terrible looking 5. Keep writing lots of 5s. And I always have trouble making 5s. I don't know what is up with that. Okay, so this will be x to the 8th, y to the 10th. And then, so like I said, there's more z's on bottom than on top. So I'm going to take this 6 minus the 5. So I end up with just z. Okay. So if you simplified the inside first, which I really recommend, this is what it should have come out to. And then we have more fun. So now I have this negative exponent here. So again, I don't want to do too much too fast. So I just want to get rid of the fact that this is a negative exponent. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to flip, boom. Okay. Now I got rid of the negative exponent. Now I will square everything. So now I'll multiply all these exponents. So this will be x to the 16th, y to the 20th, z squared. And then this is 5 squared, so this is 25. So there you go. Okay, and the last super fun time problem here. Okay, so once again, I'm just going to plow right through it. So hopefully you gave this one a try. So again, it just really bothers me having negative exponents and variables on top of variables. This just hits me in the wrong way. So the first thing I'm going to do is, first I'm going to just simplify these numbers. I don't want to do too much too fast. So this will be 3 over 4. And then I've got all this other stuff. I know sometimes it can test your patience to write all this stuff out, but I would rather go in little steps than do too much too fast. Okay, so now that I took care of the numbers, now let's work on all these negative exponents. So once again, I'm just going to work on the negative exponents inside. So let's see. These two things are getting sent to the denominator. Meanwhile, these two things are getting sent to the numerator. That's all I'm going to do in this next step. So this is 3z to the 5th, and I'm going to put that z to the 3rd next to it. And then I'm also going to bring that x squared here. So, and then down here, let's see, I had this y to the 6th. I'm going to bring that y to the 8th down next to it, and then I will set that x to the 3rd here. And let me make that a little shorter. All right, so let me double check everything. So let's see, I had a 3, yep. Z to the 5th, yep, I got that. I brought the z to the 3rd up. I brought the x to the squared up, cool. In the bottom, I had 4y to the 6th, yep. And then I brought the, yep, I brought that down, I brought that down. So you see how, like, I really want to take my time and double check stuff because the devil is in the details with these types of problems. They are really compacted problems, but they are really easy to make a mistake. So you just want to take your time. Okay, so now I can see what else I can do. So I can add these exponents, I can add these exponents, and these two I can subtract. There are more x's in the bottom, so my x's are going to end up in the bottom. Okay, so let's see. So this is going to become 3z to the 8th over 4y to the 14th. And then remember, there are more x's on bottom than on top, so this will be 3 minus 2. So I'm just left with x in the bottom. Whew, it feels like we should be done, but we are not. Okay, so let's keep going. So now I am going to deal with this negative exponent. So again, I don't like doing too much too fast, so I'm just going to take this y to the 14th, x over 3z to the 8th. So I just flip-flopped everything so that this, boom, is now positive. And now I'm going to square everything. So I need to take 4 squared. That is 4 times 4, my friends. So that is 16. And then I have y. So 14 times 2 is 28. And then this is x squared. And then this is 3z to the 16th. Oh, sorry, not 3. I almost did the wrong thing. See, I told you guys I'm prone to that error. 3 squared. See, I always double check it in my head too because I know I'm still prone to that error. I have been doing this forever and I'm still prone to it. 3 squared, that's 3 times 3. So that is 9. Obviously, I was just making sure you were paying attention. Okay, so this is it. Now, by the way, it doesn't matter the order of the letters, just so long as they're in the right spot with the right exponents, okay? Whew. All right, so I think we've got steam coming out of our ears after all of these exponent problems that we've done. I am super proud of you if you made it all the way through this. That's super cool. These are hard problems. And hey, while we're at it, my review series has many other topics in it, not just exponents. I have all the things. So each topic includes a refresher video, practice problems, an answer key, and extra videos with worked out solutions in case you don't understand the answer key solution. So you are watching one of my practice problem videos. You could have had a free answer key with this. So I try to give you everything you need so that you can really effectively review that topic and hopefully feel like you're solid on it. So all of this stuff is free at divideandconquermath.com. Just go to the review section. You will find everything there. It's all organized. It's my gift to you. We're all good. Okay, guys, so I will talk to you in another video. Bye.